Should we make a start?
Yeah.
So
okay.
Welcome everybody to this guest presentation, and thank you to Andy for stepping in to do this. He's going to talk about Storiies, which is a great guided viewing application, and hopefully with the stuff we learned yesterday with the image API, we might be able to test our images with them. So I'll pass over to Andy to introduce himself properly and just say thank you again, Andy, for stepping into this.
That's cool. Thanks, Ben. Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay and things. I'm holed up in my bedroom like everybody at the moment. But yeah, my name is Andy Cummins. I work for a company in the UK in Brighton called Cogapp, and we've been working with IIIF for quite a few years now. It feels like about maybe 5 years or something like that. And we are a digital agency. We work with sort of used to be mostly museums and art galleries, but then sort of over the last 5 years, we've worked more and more with libraries and archives. And essentially we help to put collections or online in some form, and well, in many forms basically, for the general public and researchers. So today I'm going to tell you about Storiies. You'll see the hilarious triple I in the middle there. Don't know if that was a good idea or not, but I'll tell you where this came from and you'll get it. But Storiies is essentially a free to use, fully hosted platform for telling stories. So kind of using high-res imagery and annotations, which I had a quick look at the workshop timetable. I think you're going to be learning about those tomorrow maybe. But hopefully this will give you a quick intro to them anyway. And like I said, if you have questions, there's time at the end, and if anything comes to mind or you need any help in the future, you can just email me. So a few years ago, we went to a conference in the Vatican. So a few colleagues went, and we wanted to do something fun for a presentation. So we decided to try and demonstrate the power of IIIF in terms of how one manifest or one set of annotations, basically some content, can drive multiple online experiences. So Storiies was essentially multiple versions or multiple interfaces on one piece of content. And I probably just could just show you the actual website here. So this is the original Storiies, so storiies.cogapp.com, and it was very, experimental for us at the time. And I'll just show you a quick example here of from the National Gallery, who we worked with a long time ago. So we know a lot about this painting as a company. And there's a kind of a basic example of what you could create with Storiies. So this is a very linear, sort of long form article where each one of these images is an annotation from the larger main image. So essentially we're specifying X and Y and width and height coordinates to crop an image from here. And then we're associating some text with it. So, this piece of text here that begins when this double portrait was painted is associated with this zoom and crop. And if I then just quickly show you the second example, you'll kind of see what I mean, in that these two web pages will be driven by the same IIIF manifest and annotations. So if I just skip to the next one, you'll see that this guy's eyes are in the center. It's the very same annotation. It's defined in the same way. It's actually loading the same manifest that you'll notice in the URL of both of them there. So it's using the same content to display the same story in two different ways that might be useful in two different scenarios. And there were a few others here, ones where we had the annotations being read out, a broadcasting example, which I'll try and show you a video of later. But this is kind of where we got to in the Vatican a few years ago. And that was great, but it was very IIIF heavy. You needed to be able to handcraft those manifests, which, as you've probably seen, isn't a fun job. You can use things like the Bodleian thing I think you were looking at to create them. So what we wanted to do was to make stories more accessible to more people. So at Cogapp, we're often trying to hide technology rather than bring it to the fore. So what we wanted to do was to make the creation of these stories easy for anyone, and mainly for people who know about the content, you know, the people who really know the stories. So one opportunity we had for that was our hack day, which we kind of do hack days every 2 months at Cogapp as a kind of R&D thing, and every other one of those we invite people to join us. And we work a lot with the British Library, and a team of maybe 12 of those people came down, and we had a hack day together. And my project was to create a story with a subject matter expert called Bink Hallam. But me and Bink, or Bink and I, were racing one of my other colleagues who was going to try and beat us in creating a user-friendly version of a manifest creation tool. So, you know, I was hand writing JSON, and Bink was writing all this interesting content here. And meanwhile, John built this whole interface that kind of negated my job at the time, but it was fun. And this is what I'm going to show you today. So, yeah. After that day, just so you know, so we had the hack day, so we had the kind of zoomy front end viewer, and we have the editor, so it's kind of 2 parts. And since then we've gone on and like I say, we've made it free to use, it's fully hosted, all those kind of things. And what we're hoping there is that we get feedback from people like you guys if you have a go on it. We're always looking for feedback on how we can improve it. And, you know, in talking to lots of people over the last few months in particular, while we've all been locked inside, we've improved it in various ways, and we've got a excuse me, a schedule of work to keep going with that. So I'm going to show you in a live demo, the dreaded live demo. Let's see what happens here. So you can find out more about this on our cogapp.com/stories. But one handy thing is this link to create a story. So this is essentially a tool that, if you scroll down a bit, there's lots of terms and conditions and things around rights for images. But there are kind of 2 ways of using this editor to create something that looks like this. And the 2 ways in are either you can upload your own image. If you don't have a particular image in mind that is available via IIIF, you can upload your own image. Our systems will, in the background, convert that image for you and give you, in this field here, after about 30 seconds or so, it will populate a IIIF image in there for you. So that was an improvement we made for people who just, you know, don't know too much about IIIF and don't have their own infrastructure. But if you do have your own infrastructure, like hopefully all of you have been learning how to create this infrastructure over the last few days, you can just populate this field with a IIIF image. So this is an info.json file, which is a bit annoying. I don't really know why we chose that. And we really should have chose the manifest. And we've got a piece of work on the list to change that. But if I just populate this stuff, this text, you have to put your email address in. This is so that we can send you some links to your creation, because you can go back and edit it in future. But to save everyone having to have a register and things like that, we just email the links to you. So the image, excuse me, that I'm about to use and show you is an artwork by a friend of Cogapp called Stephen Walter. And he does these really incredibly well researched and well, highly detailed hand drawn maps. So this is a map of London. It's called Subterranea. So it details what's under people's feet in London as they're walking around, a sort of history of underground London. And this editor will essentially create a manifest and an annotation list for you. But you'll note so far, it's all just a graphical interface. You don't need to play around with JSON. So what I was going to do is create a quick story. So this panel on the right here is all zoomable. If I zoom in a little bit, what's in this viewport will be the position of the annotation. So this would be, you're choosing this area essentially in this example. So if I add some text, the annotation, so we just say, do that, excuse me. And then I'll add a few of these. We'll go to, where we go? Go to Baker Street, just up here. So you see here, Sherlock Holmes, things like that. So we'll make a note of that one. And then maybe we'll go down to Knightsbridge, where I'm gonna steal one of Stephen's real annotations from the story he made. In here. And then I'll just zoom out a little bit so that we can kind of see the original, and add one more. So you can see it's not too difficult to do this, pretty straightforward. I've got 4 annotations, they're in a particular order and they're associated with a particular zoom level and position that I chose. If I hit preview up in the top right here, it'll open a new tab and hopefully load my story, and that's it. So we've got the details I put in the first form. This is the image I specified, and as I zoom in, it'll zoom around various things. If we were to do things like delete things, maybe reorder them, do the same thing, hopefully you get various they basically change the order and you can edit them and all sorts of things like that. And that's basically the main gist of how you use this thing. The cool thing about this is that you can then use these manifests and annotations in any other IIIF viewer that supports them. So for example, you could use them in Mirador, things like that. There's also the links box up here, which will give you a bookmark that you can use, or basically something to share. This is a key URL, so this is a kind of secret URL for you to go back and change your story if you wanted to change it in the future. And it's this content that will get emailed to you. Like I'll have an email in my inbox already with these details. And then down here, an iframe so that you can embed this on your blog or whatever it happens to be. So I think I've got an example here, maybe. So we find someone was using stories the other day in an abstract for a paper. As you scroll down, this is they're using stories here. So the embeddable version. So they created this using the editor. You could also see this full screen, things like that. This is Stephen's real one. I should show it, not just my rubbish one. So he's put an awful lot of effort into his various annotations. and you can zoom right in, just like every other IIIF viewer. Let me just get this up. And oh yeah, so then I was going to show you, because you've been learning about manifests and annotation lists, I was going to show you how to then extract those. So if we use mine, so the viewer is essentially loading up a manifest and an annotation list. I don't know how technical anyone is on the call. If there are any web developers on the call that would recognize this panel, and that you get to by right-click and inspect, and then you can see a network, choose XHR, and if you refresh the page, you'll see here the URLs to the manifest. So it's this. I can grab it to show you. So here you can see this was generated as a result of me using the editor, and further down here there is an annotation list which has my content in it. And the cool thing about this would be that if you weren't too into stories, but you wanted a quick way of making a manifest and annotations to use somewhere else, you can use these URLs. And I'll now show you how to populate Mirador. If I was to remember how to use this, replace object. And in this top right box here, I'll paste the manifest that was created as a result of me using the editor, and I hit load. You can see a little thumbnail and the various texts. If I then load that in Mirador, I've now got basically the same thing in Mirador, and I can toggle the annotations on and off up here like that. Hopefully you'll be able to see those. One big one around the outside, these ones in the middle, and then the extra information around the title, the description, provider, things like that. And then again, the link to the manifest. That's that. And then, yeah, things that we've got planned in the future in case this is kind of floating your boat would be, we've got a few things in mind aside from various general, just general improvements on the interface and things like that. There are plans to support multiple images. So at the moment you can put one image in there, but we'd like to be able to support more than one. As I said, I'd like to add the ability to load things from manifest rather than the info.json. And then we could allow the selection of various images from the manifest. And then we've also got a few other things in the works around supporting audio in the annotations and things like that, that maybe for a bit more sort of richer content. The last thing I want to show you before questions was just this other thing that I would like to resurrect. So this works in sort of the back cupboard of the code base, but we haven't really pushed it into the editor yet. But this is a way of broadcasting storytelling. So if I play the video, it'll make more sense. But if you see this larger browser window here in the top right, that is the sort of the controller, and all these devices below would be the equivalent of maybe an audience, maybe students at home, and the browser window would be a lecturer. So if I just play this quickly. You'll see what I mean. So I'll just narrate myself, but skip it on. So you can see up here, as next is pressed on this browser window, all these other phones keep up with it. And as the lecturer is it would be talking right now, describing things and moving around. So this is quite a cool way of sort of a storytelling led by a narrator. And this exists in the platform, but we just haven't added it to the editor and made it. It should be more secure if it was going to be a publicly available thing. And that's it, I think. That's the end of all the things I thought I should say and I thought I should show you. I appreciate that was quite a quick run through. So if anyone has any questions, I'm around for a little bit to answer them. If I stop sharing my screen, I might be able to see you. So does anyone have any questions? Got a chat. If you upload a JPEG, does it have the same pan and zoom functionality as the info.json option? Yeah. So essentially what we do with the upload is, I can just do a quick one. This is dangerous because I haven't planned this. Who knows what images are in my image folder? Probably weird, funny images of my holidays or something. So I've just chosen upload. I'll just share my screen again. So hopefully you can see this. So I just choose an image from my pictures. If I can find it. This one, test image I always use. And then I can hit upload. And that'll take 30 seconds or so. Because what's actually happening is we're uploading the JPEG to the cloud, and then we're having to change it from a JPEG into a pyramidal TIFF, so one of the kind of IIIF formats that these software use, and then what you'll get back is this has just populated itself. And then if I was to start creating a story here. It should just populate in the same way. And then I could add some really interesting annotations and then preview it. You get the same thing. So it's a really quick way, obviously we as a company, Cogapp, work with lots of institutions who don't support IIIF, and we usually try, and if we're building something from scratch, we really promote it, and pretty much every project we work on now ends up being IIIF compatible. But some of our older clients, for example, aren't there yet. So this is a way in for that, and it's also just a way in for people to try this out and get. Some people have been doing these as experiments and then taking them on the road in their institution to try and promote IIIF and why it would be a good thing to do, which is one of the reasons we do this, because we really believe in IIIF. So anything that we can do to build the community would help everybody. See if there's any other questions. I've only got 2 windows and way too many things going on. Yes. So once you use the IIIF URL for image to populate the Cogapp editor, how permanent and stable is the life of the image on Cogapp? So at the moment, we've said that this is all free and go ahead, go crazy. We have also built this for people. We can install it on people's infrastructure if they want to do that. Obviously, we're a company, so we've been paid to do that. But in general, this is not, in our mind, where it's provided as is. But if we were going to take it away, it wouldn't be taken away immediately. We wouldn't just do it one day without telling everyone. And we also don't envisage it going anywhere anytime soon. We're actively working on it. We're investing in it the way it is now. So I've been asked that before, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But if you were worried about that, or if you were worried about your content living on somebody else's you know, it's all on our servers. You can download the manifests and store them yourselves, and then, you know, you could build your own thing, or you could use other tools. So it's all, because it's all IIIF. If Cogapp disappeared and Storiies with it, you would still have the work that you'd done, and you could present it in one of those other viewers. Is there a list of all the stories that have ever been created? So you can look at them. There are, but there is a list. It's not public because well, we didn't make them all, so we would ask people before sharing their stories. But we have got some on our website. There are some on Twitter. We ask people to use the hashtag stories with 3 eyes just for this purpose, so we get to see them, because some people are using it and we don't even really know that they're using it. But there isn't an exhaustive list of them. People who are using them or have used them, sort of prominent institutions. The Bibliothèque Nationale de France did a Facebook Live using a story the other day, and they put a few up on their blog. And we did do some work for them in particular on the platform. People from the Bodleian have used it. British Library, yeah, with me, have used it. So quite prominent organizations. And then a bunch of universities have been using it, in particular, and I hope this is the right name, the University of Ghent. There is a person there using it with his students, and I think 100 students have been making stories. So there are quite a lot of them, so that's why I probably wouldn't put them all out if we had them. But I have got if you just Google stories and IIIF, you'll probably find a whole bunch. But if you'd like me to send you some, grab my email address, and I can send out a short list of the ones that I know are okay to share. Yeah, hopefully we'll get the multiple images. So you can create as many stories as you like, and you can, and yeah, all the content is served from Cogapp provided infrastructure. So the manifests and the annotations are stored on Amazon Web Services, and then we wrote software to present those as IIIF manifests and annotations. And you can only do textual annotations, and secretly, don't tell anyone, audio ones, but we haven't released that yet, and the editor doesn't support that yet. But if you put things in there, it would work. Yeah, I replied that one. Cool. I think that's all the questions. I don't want to have missed one, but hopefully I did. Yeah, no, I think I answered them all. So unless there's any more, 2 more. Okay. Thanks. Okay, cool. Yay. Good. Okay, well, you're very welcome. And seriously, if anyone wants a slower, more, less intense spin around it, that's what I do. That's what I'm working on at the moment. So happy to answer any questions. And if anyone wants me to show it to people at their institution, I've done that a few times as well. So it'd be nice to chat to you individually. Cool. I hope you enjoy the rest of your course. I'm sure it's really fun. And I'm happy that I got to be a little part of it. Okay. I'll let you all go. Have a good day. Bye.